One of the keenest political minds from the right of center media spectrum is Sean Spicer, former press secretary for the Trump White House. And now he is taking, why are you laughing at me? I'm being nice to you. Whenever I'm nice to you, you laugh at me.
Because I know there's something else coming.
He also does a mean samba. And he's taking his show, getting it together and putting it on the road as the brand new Sean Spicer Show, available on YouTube and Rumble, will debut next week from Milwaukee, where the debate's going to be. That's good for you. It's going to be perfect. We need your analysis as this debate unfolds. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's fun to be back in the game. We're going to be live at 6 o'clock on YouTube and Rumble, as you said. Then we'll be on the First Network for those of you who are cable subscribers. But the independent media, man, you've been a champion of it. You know where it is, and this is where the future is. So I'm excited to be part of it and to be launching in Milwaukee and giving people a real insight to what's happening at the debate.
Yeah, but I understand before you start your show next week in Milwaukee, you were in Iowa this past weekend as all the candidates were there doing their thing. First of all, overall, you've been to Iowa a few times in your life for presidential caucuses. What's this one feeling like right now?
It was really interesting. I felt like prior to Saturday, it was like you felt like it was this really competitive race. Everybody, and then Donald Trump showed up, and it was just like, whoa, all the oxygen got sucked out of the whole place, and everybody focused on him. But prior to that, it was actually the governor hosted a small little intimate event Friday night where a lot of the candidates came and some of her supporters and some media folks, and it was a really interesting, calm, fun experience to get to talk to some of these folks. I watched people interact with them throughout their time at the fair, and they loved talking to them. But it was just interesting. It was almost like there were two acts. The first act was all these guys, and then act two is just Donald Trump.
Yeah, and then in comes the jet, and he lands, and he does his thing. Was he even there for an hour at the fair?
I think it was somewhere just shy of an hour. Yeah, but the amount of attention he got and the amount of, wherever he went, it looked like a walking rally.
Yeah. And so this is such a weird sort of dynamic, not only because he's Trump, he's also a former president. He's not necessarily running as an incumbent. He's running for his second term, interrupted by these 4 years of Joe Biden. And most of the people running against him actually supported him, if weren't not actually part of his cabinet. How do you do that if you're running against Donald Trump, or do you even?
Well, I think that's you put your finger on it, Larry, and that's why the dynamic is such that it is right now in the national polls, which I'm not a huge fan of, but they do serve a purpose. He's at 54% in the Real Clear Average polls, right? So, I mean, all of these people are almost dividing up number two. He made a joke the other day that he was going to look at these folks to see who to pick for VP, and I don't think it's that. I mean, I'm not actually sure that the VP is on that stage, but I do think that that he was being serious in the sense that you've got sort of somebody who's light years ahead, and the rest of the folks who need name badges for people to identify them. I brought a little chart out. I'm not kidding. I mean, we literally thought it would be fun to do this. We brought it out. We put everyone's picture on it, and we asked Iowa fairgoers to see if they could pick out all of the candidates. And, of course, they got Trump and DeSantis, and most of them got Nikki Haley or Tim Scott. But then it became a struggle.
Yeah.
And I think that's the truth. I mean, a lot of these folks literally need to wear name tags for people to know who they are.
Well, they're going to get to know them next week on Wednesday. Fox News Channel, along with Young America's Foundation, sponsoring that first debate. And first of all, how we got here from there. I remember working with Andrew Breitbart back in 2011. It was very frustrating seeing how the networks controlled this entire affair. It wasn't like the Republicans even had any sort of influence on their own debate process. You worked at the RNC, and you were part of sort of redefining how we go about putting on our debates, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Up until 2015, both parties, neither one of them had any insight or into how the debates were done. The networks would just pick a date and a location and a moderator and say we're doing it. And we had studied this for a while, and I made a recommendation to the committee, and I said I would stay around if I could lead the effort to transform the debate process. And with the support of the Republican National Committee, we were unbelievably successful at doing this for the first time in history. But it was mind-blowing. I mean, when Reince and I first started in 2011, we went to the Iowa debate. And this isn't a joke. We literally had to ask the state party chairman, Matt Strawn, if we could have 2 tickets to attend it. That's how bad. I mean, the party chair and one of his aides couldn't go unless the party in Iowa did it. And that had been the case, for history. So the idea that we had transformed this was a big deal. And I think we took a very positive step in 2015. I just wish that the RNC had taken another step, which was to just focus on independent conservative media for this cycle.
Well, I was going to ask you, I mean, there's so many more players now than when you first sort of restructured this for the 2016 race. In fact, I mean, I would argue based on the media operation that the RNC obviously has and their use of social media, they could just live stream it themselves. Or like you said, partner with one of the groups like Salem News Channel, First, Daily Wire, and completely bypass, go over the heads of all those people who live in Manhattan and make these decisions for us.
Yeah, so my proposal was that would happen, right? That the Salem or Breitbart or the First or Daily Wire would host them. And then sort of my caveat was that any debate the conservative media hosted, C-SPAN would have the rights to broadcast. And that way you would ensure that everybody who had cable could still watch it. It had a broader reach. But it ensured that moderators and outlets that were vested in ensuring that the Republican nominee actually cared about Republican issues. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand why we care what CNN thinks about our nominee. Right. They're not going to vote for him. Yeah. So we should care about what Republican conservative activists care about and want to vote on.
Thank you. Yes, answering Anderson Cooper's question properly doesn't tell me as a Republican voter anything about who you are as a candidate. Let's get to this debate, though. The big question right now is whether Donald Trump will show up. Last time we had you on, you said nothing in it for him. There's no reason why he should show up. I want to play you something Scott Walker said. I know you and I both share admiration for Governor Walker. And since he's president of YAF, he's one of the co-hosts of this debate. Watch what he said yesterday.
Think voters want an alternative?
Well, you know, one of the polls that came out about a week and a half ago actually showed that a significant number of people who identify as Donald Trump supporters are at least willing to listen to another candidate if someone's elevated through the debate process. It's why I've argued, if I was advising Donald Trump, don't be conventional, actually come to that first debate, make the case, be commanding, as I saw him firsthand on the stage. I was standing right next to him. He took charge of those debates, and that pretty much will put an end to it.
You know, in June.
What do you think? I mean, he could basically finish this thing before it starts if he just shows up at the debate and cleans the field.
Low risk, high reward. I mean, 2 hours sitting there having a bunch of people who need name tags to be identified take pot shots at you isn't exactly the most sound advice. So I would just suggest, I get Governor Walker's point, and I have a lot of respect for him, but I think that if this was the third debate or the fourth debate, when it had been winnowed a little, and you had people having to meet a threshold of 3 or 4%, but right now, too early.
But if somebody has a kick-ass night, doesn't he run the risk of allowing someone to emerge without him actually being able to engage?
No, I mean, look. First of all, they're at 1 or 2%. What are they going to double and get to 4? He's at 54%, Larry, in the national average. So, look, and we got another debate in a month at the Reagan Library, the 27th of September, and then another debate after that. I mean, we got 4 months till Iowa. It's not like this is the be-all and end-all. There'll be one a month until Iowa. I would let a few of these, folks on the low end drop off, which is what they will. As soon as they don't make the debate stage or they get crushed after that, they'll fall down. But he shouldn't be sitting there and having to say, I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Yeah.
Let me respond to you. I would wait till it got a little thinner. By the way, just a quick note for your audience, Scott Walker, myself, and Mark Halpern are hosting a pre-debate call. If anyone wants to go to my locals page, SeanSpicer.locals.com, we're going to host a call to talk through what it's like. I mean, you saw Scott Walker there. He's been on the stage with Donald Trump. Yeah. Mark Halpern has great sourcing, and we're just going to talk about it on a call before. So if people want to do that, go to my locals page, sign up. We'd love to have you.
Oh, very cool. I probably will attend that myself. I'll be informed.
Yeah, good.
Cool. Sean Spicer, The Sean Spicer Show, debuting next Monday, wherever you see your streaming videos. Thanks, Sean. Great to meet you. Great to see you, and congratulations.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you. Yeah. All right. More to come on O'Connor tonight.